It's been a busy week for Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The city has found itself in the news multiple times this past week, and Winston-Salem, including some national headlines, has been getting some really good press lately. I'm going to go over these articles very quickly, but more importantly, I'm going to give a little pushback or contradiction where it's appropriate for two main reasons. One is because Winston-Salem, like any other place, is not all sunshine and unicorns all the time, so I want to be balanced in that. But two, as the city's #1 celebrity YouTube real estate agent, I run into clients on a regular basis. I want to make sure I'm giving you guys a complete a picture as possible, so when you see me at Trader Joe's, you're not sneering, snickering, and say, hey, you didn't tell me that. All right, sarcastic humor aside, in the description below, you'll find all my contact information if you need help buying or selling real estate. There's also a link to all my Google reviews and some other stuff. So the first article is Livability just named Winston-Salem, North Carolina as one of the best places to live in the country again. Now, I thought Livability used to give a number ranking to these cities, but they don't. But either they never did or stopped doing that. Instead, they give a total live score or livability score to each individual city. And they use 100 different data points to come up with this livability or live score. Things like housing affordability, city amenities, the local economy, a lot of different things like that. So again, over 100 metrics. What I can tell you about Winston-Salem is that one, it moved up from its 23 to 2024 score. It's increasing, which is a great sign. And also ranked about in the top, I'm just guessing about a third. Again, we're going on a score. I think it's 0 to 800. Winston-Salem ranked really in about the top third of cities throughout the country when they gave this livability score to. So I think its overall score, and also the fact that that score is increasing year over year and it's been on this list for a few years in a row, I think that's all great signs on not only where the city's at, but where it's heading. One thing to point out on here is one of the questions on there was there a state income tax in North Carolina? Obviously, yes, there is a state income tax, but one thing I want to point out with that is the income tax is going down. And that's such a refreshing change, especially consider where I moved from in the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois, where taxes, they're finding ways to go up or charge different things for that every time you turn around. A state like North Carolina that's actually decreasing the state income tax is a great thing. Now, it's not going down a lot. It's going down about 0.25% every year. It has for the last couple years, and it will go down for the next few years as well. But again, just a really good sign of where the city and state is going. The thing where I had a little bit of an issue with this study on here is they had the median price for a home in Winston-Salem at $202,000. And while it's true, you can get a single family home, a nice single family home in the low 200s here. If you've looked on Zillow, Redfin, or wherever your favorite place is to look at real estate, you know $202,000 does not get you much, and that might paint a little bit of a false picture about the city as a whole. And if you watch the market updates that I do, you know that our actual median sales price in Winston-Salem is really pushing close to $300,000, with homes, obviously some below that, plenty of choices above that as well. And really the sweet spot, you know, for the things that people desire most often, 3-bed, 2-baths, you're going to see those $350,000 to $450,000 and then up from there. So overall, though, a really great piece about Winston-Salem. It's awesome to see its score increasing year over year, and it's good to see Winston-Salem is named as one of the top places to live in the country again. Next one is Governor Roy Cooper was in town, and he named not only Winston-Salem, but also the other cities in the Triad, Greensboro, High Point, or the Carolina Core as they're calling it. He named that the newest economic powerhouse in the state and said that the sky is the limit for the entire Triad region. Was that an aviation pun because of the airport? I don't know. But Governor Cooper was right, and this is actually an amazing story. Back in 2018, when the state decided to kind of rebrand, when they started calling the Triad, Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point, the Carolina Core, when they started that rebranding, they had a big goal to increase jobs in the area. Their goal was by 2038 to add 50,000 new jobs throughout the region. Well, as of 2024, they have created 50,300 new jobs throughout the area, meaning they're very much ahead of schedule, which is great news for the economy in not only Winston-Salem, but Greensboro, High Point, and the surrounding area as well. 50,300 new jobs in that amount of time has been incredible. They've exceeded their goals. Obviously, they're going to do much better than over the coming years. And one of the reasons I say that over the coming years is because just in the last 5 years, over $20 billion has been invested into the Carolina Core as a whole. So again, Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point, and the surrounding area. This is a tremendous amount of investment in the area, and the other good news to follow it up, not only are they creating more jobs than they anticipated, wages are also rising during that time as well. You have companies like Boom Supersonic, Siemens Mobility, Marshall Aerospace, and Toyota Battery are bringing thousands and thousands of above average paying jobs to the area. The other good news with that is when these companies bring these jobs, it also attracts other small and medium-sized companies to come to the area to support those companies and bring more jobs, more investment into the area, and it just becomes a really overall positive effect. And in Winston-Salem, with Innovation Quarter Phase 2 finally under construction, Winston-Salem finds itself in the top 10, actually at number 7 in the country for active life sciences construction in the entire country. As IQ2 gets built out over the coming years, I think this will be a tremendous positive impact for the entire Winston-Salem area in general. A couple counterpoints or issues that I had with this article. Overall, very positive and truly an amazing story for not only Winston-Salem, but Greensboro and High Point as well. But while yes, this is a new economic powerhouse in the state, let's not confuse the Triad or Winston-Salem with Raleigh. Let's not confuse Greensboro with Durham, and let's not get the areas confused. Because Winston-Salem and the rest of the area is not like Raleigh and the rest of that area, and I'm for one happy that they're not. I like the quality of life, a little bit of slower pace out here and things like that, so I'm appreciative of that, but let's just not get it confused as far as what's going on. I don't think this area will ever become like Raleigh or Charlotte. And leaders from the different cities have stated that they're fine with that on many different occasions. And I guess the other issue that kind of goes along with that hand in hand is, because it is a smaller area and it is kind of often overlooked, when you talk about Raleigh, Charlotte, and things like that, Winston-Salem can kind of get overlooked in there, is they're going to probably have some issues, and they have in the past, with talent acquisition, meaning attracting enough quality workers to fill these jobs. Because when people think of North Carolina, Winston-Salem is not just the first thing that pops to their mind. So Winston-Salem has a little bit of work to do in that regard. The good news is Greater Winston-Salem, kind of like the city's Chamber of Commerce, does a great job on PR and attracting talent from outside the area. The other issue that comes with that is we have a housing shortage, and that's everything from rental units all the way to luxury homes. There's a shortage throughout Winston-Salem. If you've been watching the market updates, you've seen that as well. So those are just a couple of issues that I have with that article, but again, overall, fantastic news. Next story is Wallet Hub just named Winston-Salem number 15 on its top 100 places in the country to start a business. Yes, Winston-Salem, number 15. And they used about 20 different factors to come up with this list. Things like long-term survival of the business, and Winston-Salem does an amazing job at supporting small businesses. One of my favorite things about this city. They also looked at office space affordability and overall business environment. North Carolina does a great job supporting business as a whole in the state. But coming in at number 15 put Winston-Salem in some company of some really great cities that you might think of that are good places to start businesses. Cities like Dallas, Austin, Raleigh. Winston-Salem was right in there with all of those other cities. Great news for the city. And one of the big reasons for its place where it landed is that Winston-Salem ranked number 2 overall in affordability to start a business. So when you combine that with, labor, affordability of housing, office space, and things like that, that really brought the affordability ranking up high for Winston-Salem. That's the area where it really shined. It also ranked really well in overall business environment and access to resources. And North Carolina follows suit as a state. I mean, it's consistently ranked as the top or one of the top states to start and run a business in the entire country. Similar story to what I mentioned previously, the state is very fiscally responsible, and just like it's lowering the income tax rate, it's doing the same thing with the corporate tax rate as well. It's a flat rate tax, and it's actually scheduled to decline, again, not a ton, but about 0.25% a year over the next few years. So good business-friendly policies like that are attracting businesses here. When you combine that with the overall affordability and things like that of Winston-Salem, you can see why that's one of the top spots in the country to start a business. I love that Winston-Salem finds a way to reinvent and keep growing at this slow and steady pace. It stays under the radar, but still maintains a good quality of life, lots of opportunity if you're looking for it. And if you're thinking about buying or selling a house anywhere in Winston-Salem or the entire Triad, please reach out to me at jeff@govalentino.com. Thanks.